Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make the Houndstooth Scarf. This is a fun scarf that uses two different basic stitches and two different colors of yarn to get this fun texture and fun effect to it. This scarf measures approximately 7 inches wide by 64 inches long. However, you can always customize this to be a thicker or wider scarf, as well as a longer or shorter scarf. So you're using the two different stitches, which is a single crochet and a double crochet, and by switching colors every row, this is what gets the houndstooth effect. And what's really cool about this is the first side, and if you look at the other side of your scarf, it's a little bit different. So on one side you have the white shining through a little bit more, and then the other side you have the gray shining through. So you can wear your scarf either way, whatever side you prefer, whether you like this side a little bit more or this side. It's definitely a very interesting stitch and a very interesting texture to it as well. So let's begin today's tutorial on making the Houndstooth Scarf. Okay, so for my scarf, I have one skein of two different colors. You want them to be kind of contrasting colors so you can see the houndstooth effect. Most notably, you will find a lot of the houndstooth scarves patterns being with black and white, but I wanted to make it a little bit more subtle and have the gray and white. You can use whatever color that you want, even if you wanted to use the white with a blue or a pink or purple or whatever you would like. That would be very pretty. I've also seen different patterns using a white for the one color and then a multicolor for the second. I think that would be really pretty as well. So there's definitely a lot of different color options that you can use, but I just wanted to use these two colors. So again, I'm using the white and the gray, and this is Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn. And the color, of course, is white. And each skein is 7 ounces or 199 grams, 355 yards or 325 meters. It is 100% acrylic and machine washable and dryable. And this is considered a number 4 worsted weight. And the recommended hook size is a US I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So you're going to need one skein of white. And then this other color I have is called Graymist, and you're going to need one skein of that. I'm also using a slightly larger crochet hook. I'm going to be using a J10 or 6 millimeter crochet hook. The reason why is because you're going to be carrying your yarn throughout the entire project. So I wanted to make sure that my hook was slightly bigger so my yarn wasn't so tight, or my stitches weren't so tight. So I wanted to make it a little bit more airy. You can always go up to a K10.5 crochet hook if you're really tight with your tension. So just kind of keep an eye on that, and then as long as you have your correct hook size for your project, your stitches will not be super tight and you'll be able to see your different stitches. So let's begin today's tutorial. So starting with that gray color, we're going to be making a chain of 191. We're going to be working the length of our scarf instead of the width, which is why we're using so many chains. If you want to make your scarf a little bit shorter or a little bit longer, you just want to make sure that you have an odd number of chains. So for my scarf, again, I did 191. If you want to make your scarf shorter or longer, go ahead and just make a different amount of chains as long as they're in an odd number. So for this tutorial, I'm just going to be making a chain of 21. So to make a chain, yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue until you have a total of 191 chains or your desired length. Okay, so once you have your 191 chains or your desired length, we can begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to skip that very first chain and work into the second chain, and we're going to be making a single crochet and a double crochet. And we're going to be alternating the single and double. And so you're going to find that you're going to go in the second chain, so that loop on your hook does not count. You're going to count 2 chains, so 1 and 2, and in that second chain from your hook, you're going to go ahead and make a single crochet. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and that is your single crochet. If you're a beginner, I highly recommend getting a stitch marker and putting it into this very first single crochet stitch so you don't lose your place and your ends come out nice and even. In the next chain, you're going to go ahead and make a double crochet. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And that is your double crochet. You're going to repeat this all the way across, so you're going to make a single crochet into that next chain, and in the chain after that you're going to make a double crochet. So by alternating the single crochet and the double crochet, this is called the lemon peel stitch, and this is what gets that houndstooth effect to it. In the next chain, make a single crochet. In the chain after that, make a double crochet. So continue alternating your single crochet and your double crochet stitches for the remainder of row 1, and I'll show you how to switch colors as well as move on to the second row. Okay, here's what your first row will look like with the alternating single and double crochets. And with your stitch marker, you're going to put it in this very last double crochet stitch right here. And again, that will help keep your ends nice and even. So now we're going to be switching colors. You're going to switch colors every row, and I'll show you a little bit of a trick to keep your 2 colors from twisting on each other. So usually when you have multiple colors, you could do your product, especially if you're changing colors every 2 rows or every other row. A trick to this is to make sure that one of your skeins of yarn is always pulled towards the front, and then the other skein is pulled towards the back. And by that, it creates separation with your 2 colors, so that way they're not getting tangled with the skeins and you don't have to twist and turn and all these different things to keep them separated. Now, however, if you wanted to cut your yarn and fasten off and then attach your new color after each row, you can do that as well, but you're going to have a lot of ends to weave in at the end, so I like this method a lot more. So I'm just going to take out my double crochet just like this. So I'm going to leave my stitch like this, and instead of yarning over with that gray color, I'm going to get my white color, and you're going to leave a little bit of an end to weave in later. You're going to put this right over your crochet hook, and you're going to pull through with that white color. I like to get the ends of both colors and kind of just tug them a little bit to make it a little bit more tight. And then make sure your stitch marker is in the top of that stitch still. So moving on to row 2, you're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn. And then with your gray color, you're just going to hold it right behind, and you're going to work along your scarf by holding that yarn. And what that's going to do is you're going to be able to pull it all the way down to the end of your other scarf. So when you make row 3, you have that gray strand right over there. So you're going to make a single crochet into that very first stitch. So the stitch that you ended with is a double crochet. You're always going to work a single crochet into the double crochet. Your next stitch is a single crochet, and you're always going to work a double crochet into the single crochet. So you're always going to do the opposite from what you did before. So that very first stitch, you're going to make a single crochet, and in that next stitch you're going to make a double crochet. And just make sure that you always carry that gray yarn strand behind as you make the stitches throughout the whole row. So single crochet and double crochet in the next stitch. If you turn your work, you could barely see your yarn. If you want to give it a little bit of a tug to make it a little bit more tight, you could do that, but you really don't see your yarn as you work your stitches across. So continue making a single crochet in the double crochet from the previous row and a double crochet in the single crochet from the previous row, carrying that gray yarn all across your row. When you get to the end, I'll show you how to switch colors and move on to the next row. Okay, so I'm coming up on my final stitch, and you should be ending with a double crochet. So you're going to start your double crochet as normal. Now instead of finishing with that white color, I'm just going to put my white color to the back of my work. I'm going to pick up that gray, and I'm just going to finish the stitch with the gray. You're going to yarn over. You're going to chain one and turn, and you're going to be doing the same thing. So you're going to move that white yarn behind you, and you're going to start with the single crochet stitch, and then you're going to do a double crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to make a single crochet, and in the stitch after that, make a double crochet. So here's what your work is going to look like. And when you have the carrying of the colors, like I said, you have way less yarn ends to weave in. But if you really are not comfortable doing that, you can always fasten off after each row and attach and then weave in your ends later on. And then by keeping one color to the front and then the other color to the back, like I said, it keeps your skeins from twisting on itself and having to detangle it after each row, and it just makes life a little bit easier. And then as you carry your yarn over, again, you can barely see it, but if you feel the need, you can always tighten it a little bit just to hide that a little bit more. So you're always going to start your row with a single crochet, and you're always going to end your row with a double crochet. And after each row, you're going to switch colors. So what I did is I made a total of 21 rows. So I started and I ended with that gray color. You can make as many more rows as you want because that's going to be the width of your scarf. So if you want a chunkier or thicker scarf, go ahead and make more rows. Just make sure you have an odd number of rows, because that way you will end with the same color that you started with. Okay, so repeat this again. I'm going to work to the end of my row, and I'll show you how to do that color change one more time, and then I will show you the finished scarf. Okay, so I have one stitch remaining, and it's that double crochet. So you're going to work in the top of that single crochet. You're going to make your double crochet, and you're going to stop right here. I'm going to take my gray yarn and move it to the front. I'm going to get my white yarn and pull through with that final stitch. Okay, you're going to yarn over with your white yarn and make a chain 1 and turn. You're going to put that gray yarn behind your work, and then you're going to continue with your scarf with it starting with that single crochet and then a double crochet into that next stitch. So even though we only have a few rows here, you can already see the pattern forming with the gray side here and more of the white side on this side. So I did a total of 21 rows. It started with the gray yarn and then it ended with the gray yarn. So let me show you my finished scarf. And this is what the pattern looks like after you complete the 21 rows. It's just a very fun and cool looking stitch, like I said, and I really enjoyed making this. If you wanted to add some fringe to the end of it, you can definitely do so. I decided not to for this pattern, but like I said, you could have 2 different colors and you have one color more dominant on one side, and then the other side, the other color is a little bit more dominant. So in this side, this is the gray and this is the white that's more dominant on this side. So thank you so much for joining me today on learning how to make the Houndstooth Scarf. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting. Bye.